The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I was just in Eretz Yisrael. I've been there for 4 years. I got to spend time with my Rebbe, Berkovits. These past 4 days have been unbelievable. Last week, Berkovits gave us one shiur on exactly what you girls have been listening to on the bus, choosing to be happy. And Berkovits said a personal story. I've been his student now since 2005. I haven't heard him say the story yet. He said, "You all should know, I grew up in a happy home." Okay, Rabbi, thank you. He's like, "I grew up in a very happy home." Okay, he's like, "No, but you don't understand." He said, his father was a child during the Holocaust, that as his family were being schlepped towards the trains by the Nazis, Berkovits' father hid and he ran away. And as like an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old child, he was living in the forest and living on the streets. Nobody took him in. He was starving for years as a child. Meanwhile, Berkovits' mother actually went to the concentration camps. And years later, she would tell how each one of her siblings were torn away from her and murdered by the Nazis in Al-Shamal. She watched each one of them die. He said the way that his parents met was that after the war, they were both by a distant cousin's house. They're related like very distant cousins. And they saw each other, two broken people. And his mother said to his husband said to his father, she said, "Look, I came from the war, you came from the war. Let's get married and I'll take care of you." That was their date. He said, okay. He said, from that moment on, he said, the children were born. He said, we lived in the happiest home. He said, I never knew. I never would have known. Had they not told me, I never would have known. It was always so happy. He said, and then when my mother died, when my mother passed away by the Shiva, my father, who was, I think then he was probably in his 80s, my father looked at me and he said to me a line, said Rav Berkovits, that I didn't realize how penetrating it would be. He said to me, I have every excuse in the world to be miserable, but I choose to be happy. Happiness is a choice. Rav Berkovits said that his father's body started shutting down on him, and they had to bring him into an old age home. And his children, Rav Berkovits' own children, the grandchildren, would go and visit all the time. And one of the people over there said, "It's so nice you visit your grandfather." And they said, "So nice. We come because he's the funniest person. It's so much fun to hang out with this 92-year-old man whose body doesn't work anymore, who needs somebody else to feed him. He needs somebody else to bathe him. But he's so full of life. He chooses to be happy." In this young age now, or even in our older age now, if we should decide to take those 3 minutes and say, whatever I saw or whatever I heard, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the reality. Because you know what the reality is? It's your happiness. It's your choice after those 3 minutes to say, what is happy? What will be the outcome in which, at the end of this, I'm smiling, the other person's smiling? That's reality.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org